Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick. My name is Cindy Parker and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Our service today on December 6th is led by our interim minister, the Reverend Justine Sullivan, and her topic is Advent. Again, welcome. Please remember to stay for coffee hour, which will begin directly after the service is over.
Our opening words this morning are by Jan Richardson, Blessing the Way. With every step you take, this blessing rises up to meet you. It has been waiting long ages for you. Look close and you can see the layers of it, how it has been fashioned by those who walked this road before you. How it has been created of nothing but their determination and their dreaming. How it has taken its form from an ancient hope that drew them forward and made a way for them when no way could be seen. Look closer and you will see this blessing is not finished, that you are a part of the path it is preparing, that you are how this blessing means to be a voice within the wilderness and a welcome for the way. And now let us sing together our opening song, hymn number 225, O Come, Emmanuel.
With your
We now find ourselves in the season of Advent, a time of waiting. For Christians, it is a time of awaiting the arrival of Jesus. But older than the nativity story that we recount at this time of year is our acknowledgement of our connection to the earth and her seasons. Ancient peoples knew of this connection and took time to give thanks for the bounty of the earth, and they lived by nature's clock. As we approach the longest night of the year, we take time to notice the gifts that darkness and stillness offer. We are called into a time of hope, of faith, that once the darkest time has passed, the light will return. As people of faith, we are called to be a light in dark times. We light a candle on each of the 4 Sundays of Advent, the first candle for hope, the second for peace, the third for joy, and the final candle for love. Today, the second Sunday of Advent, we light 2 candles, the first for hope, which we talked about last week, and today we light a candle for peace, peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, peace in our nation, peace in our world.
Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. And the only other sound's the sweep of easy wind on downy flake. Are lovely and dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
And now let us enter into a time of meditation and prayer. These words by Richard S. Gilbert. We meet on holy ground, brought into being as life encounters life, as personal histories merge into the communal story. As we take on the pride and pain of our companions, as separate selves become community. How desperate is our need for one another, our silent beckoning to our neighbors, our invitations to share life and death together. Our welcome into the lives of those whom we meet, and their welcome into our own. May our souls capture this treasured time. May our spirits celebrate our meeting in this time and in this space, for we meet on holy ground. Beloveds, this ground that I stand on is made holy by your presence, by your physical presence when that is possible, but also by all the love, all the moments, all the memories that you have shared on this sacred ground. We call all of that to us now as we hold in community the joys and sorrows, the worries, the wonderings that are on our hearts. I would invite you now, if you wish, to type briefly in the chat a word or two that represents a joy or a sorrow that you are holding, and that will allow us to hold that story with you. Let us hold the silence together for a moment as we pray for one another, for healing for our world, and for all those whom we love, all those whom we have not yet met. Spirit of life and love, may we be mindful that there are those carrying sorrows and carrying triumphs that we cannot know. And may we be ever grateful that we need not carry these moments alone, for we are a part of this larger community here on earth, here in Brunswick, here in this Unitarian Universalist faith that welcomes us. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe.
I am waiting in the silence. I am waiting for the dawn. I am often found in reverence, though from many sources drawn. It is not mine to fight for justice, for it will not be won this day. I am peace, and I am waiting for the lost to find their way. You'll not find me set in judgment of the vain or of the weak, but I rise to meet the weary with the songs that they seek. Still I have not fed the hungry, nor sown wealth among the poor. I am peace, and bring my mystery, and a patience to endure. I cannot save the suffering from their anger and their pain. Only open doors of insight, so the healing comes again to the
This reading also comes to us from Jan Richardson, Blessing for Waiting. Who wait for the night to end, bless them. Who wait for the night to begin, bless them. Who wait in the hospital room, who wait in the cell, who wait in prayer, bless them. Who wait for news, who wait for the phone call, who wait for a word, who wait for a job, a house, a child, bless them. Who wait for one who will come home, who wait for one who will not come home, bless them. Who wait with fear, who wait with joy, who wait with peace, who wait with rage, who wait for the end, who wait for the beginning, who wait alone, who wait together, bless them. Who wait without knowing what they wait for or why, bless them. Who wait when they should not wait, who wait when they should be in motion, who wait when they need to rise, who wait when they need to set out, bless them. Who wait for the end of waiting, who wait for the fullness of time, who wait emptied and open and ready, who wait for you. Oh, bless. Here ends our reading.
Look at them working in the hot sun. Pilloried saints and the fallen ones. Working and waiting for the night to come. Waiting for a miracle. Somewhere out there is a place that's cool. Where peace and balance are the rules. Working toward a future like some kind of mystic jewel. Waiting for a miracle. You rub your palm on the grimy pane in the hope that you can see when you're waiting. You stand up proud, you pretend you're strong in the hope that you can be when you're waiting. Like the ones who've cried, like the ones who've died, trying to set the angel in us free. When you're waiting for a miracle. Struggle for a dollar and scuffle for a dime. You step out from the past and try to hold the line. So how come history takes such a long, long time? When you're waiting for a miracle. You're waiting for a miracle.
A year ago, or more, before the coronavirus, I might have preached a sermon in which I wondered with you why we have a sacred season devoted to waiting. Waiting. Certainly, we all now really understand what it is to wait and to wait. Or I might have asked in that sermon from before the time of COVID, what are you waiting for? But we all know the answer to that. We are waiting for the return of warmth and gathering, handshakes and hugs, the easy conversation in the checkout line or the coffee shop. What I wouldn't give to drink a cup of coffee at a counter and chat with whoever comes in. We are all waiting for the same thing. Return to life as we knew it before. And doesn't that link us, that waiting, that living with uncertainty, doesn't that link us to the ancients? People in the ancient world lived with a constant knowledge that death could come at any time. A small cut, seemingly minor, could become infected and, without antibiotics, could end a life. Infancy was an especially dangerous time, many children not surviving to see their first birthday. Death and illness were common, like now. Soon we will hit 300,000 dead in the United States from a virus that seems to be spreading unchecked. And like so many terrible things, it doesn't affect everyone equally. Income disparity, racism, xenophobia have all made the spread and the effects of the coronavirus much, much worse. The other day, December 1st, was World AIDS Day. And I would say it went largely unnoticed because of the current health crisis, to be sure, but also because of, I imagine, the folks who have been most affected by HIV/AIDS. I find myself thinking these days of David and Gary. David was a coworker of mine at a high-tech company in the 1980s and early 90s. He was a closeted gay man living with his partner, Gary. When they met and fell in love, they were both HIV positive. They had a commitment ceremony and they promised to care for one another. And they did. But of course, it's not possible for both to honor that promise to care for each other until death. David grew very ill first. Now, this was just before the good treatments, the antiretroviral therapies, became available. Gary cared for David until the very end of his life, tenderly, lovingly. And this next part of the story is really hard to tell. Because they were not legally married and because David's parents had co-signed on the loan on their condo, Gary ended up scrambling for a place to live after David's death, evicted from the home he had shared with David by David's parents. Gary had been keeping himself healthy so that he could care for David, and after David died, soon thereafter, he stopped his own treatment for lymphoma and died not too long after David. Tragic. And it didn't have to be that way. HIV spread unchecked because, at least in part, our leaders didn't take it seriously, didn't offer treatment, didn't share the tools of education and prevention, downplayed its importance. Sound familiar? Now, we still don't have an AIDS vaccine, but the development of good treatment and continuing efforts at prevention have made the disease much less devastating than it was in those early days. So on this first Sunday in December, let us remember all those we have lost to HIV/AIDS, even as we begin to process the illness and death unleashed by this latest virus, the effects of which have certainly been harshest in communities that were already disenfranchised. We are waiting. We are waiting for a cure for AIDS, a cure for COVID-19, a cure for the hatred and fear, homophobia, classism, and racism that always make everything else so much worse. But Jesus taught a new way of seeing the sick, the downtrodden, the disenfranchised. Some say Jesus came down from heaven to get humanity back on track, back to the garden, back to a place of peace. You may believe that Jesus came down from heaven to save us all, or you may believe that Jesus was born at a moment in history when the gifts he had for prophecy, for teaching, for showing us how to love one another, at a moment when those gifts could be received, at least by some, though not right away. In fact, Jesus was executed because his radical message of universal love threatened the status quo. For thousands of years, until quite recently in human history, we humans were connected to the earth and her cycles, especially to cycles of light. We were entirely dependent upon the sun and her warmth for food, and it guided all of our activities: when to travel, when to return home, when to begin a task. If your crop failed or was weak, you couldn't just send down to Mexico for avocados or to Argentina for grapes. No, we had to wait. Wait for the return of the sun. And so it is really no surprise that so many of our rituals and stories and legends would have to do with light and holding on, praying that that which we have created and preserved and stored will be enough. When those early Christians, those who came well after Jesus' death, set out to grow the Christian church, they didn't have armies to conquer the people they encountered, at least not at first. So they used persuasion and teaching and assimilation. They brought a Christian theology to the pagan rituals, to the earth-centered beliefs and practices that had been part of human life for millennia. To winter solstice, they added Christmas, the return of the sun, symbolized by the birth of a holy child who would save us all. Not really such a huge stretch theologically, not an outright conversion, more an adding of a new story. The season of Advent prepares us for that arrival. Each year at this time, we get another chance to welcome the arrival, the birth of love, of hope, of peace, of joy. From Jan Richardson, How the Light Comes. I cannot tell you how the light comes, but that it does, that it will, that it works its way into the deepest dark that enfolds you. Though it may seem long ages in coming or arrive in a shape you did not foresee. And so may we this day turn ourselves toward it. May we lift our faces to let it find us. May we bend our bodies to follow the arc it makes. May we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes. May it be so. Peace and love to you. Our closing words are by Kathleen McTeague. May the light around us guide our footsteps and hold us fast to the best and most righteous that we seek. May the darkness around us nurture our dreams and give us rest so that we may give ourselves to the work of our world. Let us seek to remember the wholeness of our lives, the weaving of light and shadow in this great and astonishing dance in which we move. May it be so.